Smile, you miserable buggers. Smile. Oh, look, here it is. Nat King Cole. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. Hello, Mel. My goodness, who's this person?
Is Mel there?
It's Mel. I'm trying to think. Mel, what would it be? Melbourne? No? Oh, yeah. Oh, look, we got a few minutes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's very kind of you. I know you're busy. You're never here. Tony's always here. Tony's a stalwart. 69, that's his IQ. Don't knock him. He's clean. You'd have enjoyed the sausage rolls I made today. They were delicious. Half pork mince, half beef sausage meat. Small throw of breadcrumbs, fresh herbs out of the garden, sage, thyme, parsley, puff pastry. 180 degrees for about 30 minutes, something like that. And they were delicious. Yes, I did. Very impressed. I love Maseratis. Or was it a Ferrari? I forget now. We finished our front porch, no? Well, got to paint the old part of the house now, but the front porch is structurally done. Hope all is well with you and your family, your two babies. We missed you, Mel. Most nights, most of us hang around and tap our fingers on the table and wonder if you're coming in, but it's been a long time. Some people are struggling that you're not here. But me, I'm stoic. I know you'll be back one day. One day, yes, I shall return.
It's her turn to work.
It's my week on. Oh, I see. So you've had a week off. Oh, I see. You haven't been here, but you had a week off. All right, okay. Say no more. Tap the side of my nose. Say no more. Obviously, you have other loves, and you've been patronising them. And we here, sitting, waiting patiently. Nights are cold and the wind is chilly. But we turn on the hangout just to hope you'll grace our presence. Remember the cat? No, it was the dog, wasn't it? Precious.
Muttley.
Muttley, yeah.
Muttley Doolittle.
Yes, I thought we had 3 sausage rolls each, and I made a dozen. And I thought to myself, and I even said it on tape, we'll be able to eat the rest if the kids or grandkids don't come round. And they came round. But they only ate 2, so there is 4 left. Starting to rain here quite a lot. I'm not sure whether you're copping it. I imagine you are. Got a week of it now. Got to harvest me broccoli tomorrow, I think. What is that stuff? On the table? You want to know, don't you? Your curiosity has got the better of you. You had to ask. Could be crumbs. Could be chunky cocaine, as someone suggested the other night. It's peewee food. Yes?
There's crumbs through his beard, all over his...
Did you not have a
clothes.
bib? No, it's not that. Normally we feed them on the pillar, as you can see just in front. And that pillar there. But this one peewee wants attention.
Yes, he likes
So
to
he'll come up, he'll come right up to me on the edge of the table and look at me and say, well, so I've got to break it in little crumbs. So I've got to clean it up, but that's what we do. One of our little babies. And we had the fur babies tonight, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had Penny and Milo. Man, they get excited. They run down the ramp, they race out the back on the lawn.
Yep.
It's like, woo! All living creatures are special. This is true. I'll just said, oh my God, Mrs. Seeds. Hello, Rujex, nice to see you. Tell me Canada is warm, bathing in sunlight, gentle breezes to keep you cool.
Okay, I'll have a look, Mel.
Here it is well, it's starting to get a bit cooler. It's 16 degrees. And a cute.
Oh my God, that is just so cute.
Hello, Hammers. She's constantly surrounded by these pretty middle-aged women, yet I'm interested in this ugly young girl because of her awesomeness, personality, and nice bottom. Oh, you didn't put that in. But that's what you mean,
You
Hammers.
always add...
A nice bottom. 24. Sounds good, Rujex? It's temperature I could live with most of the year. I'll still have a jumper on, but it'll be okay. We are getting rain, and it's due to El Nino. Not a lady, a circumstance within the atmosphere. And we've had an extraordinary amount of rain because we don't normally get any rain, bugger all rain. Every now and then each year someone spits from the sky and we consider that rain, but not this year. It's incredibly wet. We've got a week of it now, all coming up from the Antarctic. I did the same thing myself.
Okay, gotta go.
Got a little bit of clover in the lawn, so I weeded and feeded.
And
You have
will
to go.
Will you be back or not back?
Right, guys, I want all of you just to scan all the other channels. If she goes there, and she basically is just saying, well, I don't want to be here anymore with you, Seeds and Mrs. Seeds. I'm going elsewhere. We will put it on her dossier. We'll get our top agent to follow it up. I would just like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Seeds. Why? What have we done now? Piss off, Mr. Seeds. You love it.
Okay. Do I have to give you a star because you won't be back? So I'm going to give you your stars now.
Got to go to work. Be safe. Be smart. And eat all the lamingtons.
Oh, you'll be back.
No one will know it was you.
You'll be back if you don't get sidetracked, Mel. I know you. Oh, Patty, we've been thinking about you.
Hello, Penny. Good to see you. Hope all went well.
Hope all's well.
You stood your ground, lady. Good?
You're doing other stuff, so okay. Patty, the floor is yours. How did you go?
Oh, she just stood her ground because no one needs to be mistreated.
Oh, good. Not fired yet.
I've got a big... I don't know if Mel's still listening. Mel, I picked up a bargain of shin beef. So in my Sean Connery voice, I'll be making a stew. Carrots out of the garden, spinach out of the garden.
Good. Stand your ground and just be good, be honest. Do what you got to do, and take note, Paddy. Take notes
Wow.
and dates.
Underhanded
times.
work. Well,
Take notes.
see what happens. If you stand your ground, there's only one person that's going to look foolish. There are tough times coming for everyone. And everyone knows I am not a doomsayer. I am a very much optimist thinking person. But we are looking at dark clouds. And some people think, yeah, it'll be a couple of weeks, it'll be over. No. I truly believe this is years in the making. There are people that are broken financially, struggling to feed their families, even now. And in the US, it's catastrophe. It's just, I'm trying to find a better word than catastrophe. It's totally devastating. And no one seems to give a rat's ass, which is terrible. We had it's the end of heresies. No, I don't think it's the end. It's certainly one of those things that we'll look back and realise it was pretty broken. It's like travelling down a road, like a yellow brick road. And all of a sudden, every now and then there's a pile of crap in the middle of the yellow brick road, but at the moment, the road's full of it. So we're all going to get our feet covered in it. If you get over the other side and flick your feet and walk on the clean path, should all be good, but it will be tough. Yeah, I tell you what, Rujus, we had an outbreak in Victoria, which is a state down the south of Australia, and had about 1,000 cases in a couple of weeks, which in comparison to other parts of the world doesn't seem much. But they've ordered everyone back to stay at home. Everyone's locked in. 6 weeks, this is what's going to happen. The borders are closed. No one can get in or out. And that's how it should be done. Yeah, I mentioned that a few weeks ago about how complacency would be the enemy and terrible leadership. Or, let's be honest, in some countries, no leadership, just blame and pointing of fingers. I'm going to do a video in the near future, and a lot of my American friends may get upset, but I hold no apology for what I will be unveiling. Experience managing, supervised coaching, and her actions right now are unreal. Maybe, I know this might be a third wing thing, but maybe Patty, she's under enormous stress. Maybe. I just think reality check needs, people need to work out one thing, is that, you keep hearing we're in it together. It's true, but unless we all lift at the same time, people fall. Hey, that's crazy, rejects. Just absurd. I said it about 5 months ago. What the world needs to do for at least a month is nothing. Everyone stay home and do nothing. Turn everything off. Just do nothing for a month. If the world had followed that plan, we'd have a lot different figures now. But it's complacency that is causing the biggest problem. People think that the pubs are open, everything's back to normal. It's just the mentality of people. The biggest thing that works beyond any doubt at all, is social distancing. In my state, there is no virus. We're very fortunate in Western Australia, but we have dots everywhere that we all follow. We don't bump into each other. We give ourselves our proxemics. And we don't have any virus. COVID is like herpes, never goes away and just keeps coming back. Worst case, it packs. That's right. The people, the truth about virologists and epidemiologists, most viruses weaken over time, but that's not all. Most. And I understand that, but you still should not treat people like crap. I'm a strong person. Yeah, it's the strongest and the fittest, unfortunately, that will strive and probably thrive. And there's lots of people that are going to fall. But I've always said this, and it is ultimately true. Never rely on your governments to lift you up from a hole, because they won't do it. They look at the bigger picture and think, oh, well, a few holes, a few 100,000 people here and there, that's all right, plenty of people. Just the total ignorance of the fact that your job as a leader in any country, priority number one, is the people. Not the finances, not the profit, not the bottom line, but people. And if you don't do that, as will unleash in the US, people won't forgive or forget. I'm not going to preempt my video, but it's going to be quite scathing of the leadership or non-leadership in America, the confusion, the blame game, pointing, political points being played at the cost of people's lives. I'll stop there. It will be quite, I suppose for me, it'll be quite an accurate video, but a punchline saying that the responsibility lies with all of us. But if you have no leadership, people are lost. I don't need to, Hammers. We don't have any virus here. And I'm like anything. Me and you, Hammers, if we're staying outside the vaccine restaurant, you and I sit there with a cold beer across the road, and we'll have a look. Watch for a few weeks, a few months. No, that didn't work out too good. Just have another beer. Yeah, I am willing not to take the vaccine. It's just, for me, infuriating that all the bullshit that gets spoken politically, particularly in the US, words like "we the people." That's what it's supposed to be about, we the people. And the words that formulate the first part of the name of the country, united. I'm not that old, but I can tell you I have never seen that country so divided on all levels. Socially, economically, racially, definitely politically. It's all a game to some people, but they're playing a game with people's lives. And there's going to be a price to pay. Mark my words, in the coming months and years, there will be Senate inquiries, there'll probably be subpoenas, there's going to be a lot of people dragged across the coals because they did nothing but nod and say yes. She really showed her butt on Friday. I was shocked, but I should have realised her actions. Oh, okay. My boss was a property manager before she became a regional manager. Never forget. No, you should never forget where you come from. When I was a young man, I lived on the streets, the beaches, the bridges, hitchhiked around my country, worked hard, bought a second-hand car, slept in that for a while. I never actually thought at any given time during that period I was doing it tough. I'm more than happy to stand behind those words, Hammer. Leadership that hasn't existed, the blame game, and just crazy things that I've seen unfold in the last 4 or 5 years. And it's not just the US, but that's the worst example of bad leadership. And there will be people brought across the coals, guaranteed. As once said, Nero in Rome sat and played a fiddle while the city burnt to the ground, even though that's only used as a metaphor. Yeah, that's true. I'm angry for my friends in the US. Canadians would probably think exactly like I do. What the hell are they doing, is what we say. We just can't believe that some people in America have received a $1,200 check, but not everyone. And there's maybe thought of another one, maybe. But this is month 6th since the virus started, and people have got $1,200. Let's work that out. Yeah, that works out $200 a month. Wonder how a family of 4 feed themselves, pay their rent, their gas, their bills, if they haven't got a job, and all they've had is $200 a month. That's why people are hitting the streets. There are other reasons, of course, but people are pissed off. Could have been hammers, but the metaphor is just the fact that if you sit and watch your country burn to the ground and just point and blame other people, what leadership is that? It's nothing. I truly believe we're in for a tough run the next 12 to 24 months. The economy is going to tank at one stage within that period, for sure. That's why I say that the name of the country is not united at all. One for all and one for one. We've got the same mentality, I think, as Canadians. And I'm not knocking Americans. Don't get me wrong. This is not the point of my conjecture. I'm not knocking Americans. I'm knocking the lack of leadership and direction. We've got a state, Victoria, under siege at the moment, but doctors, nurses, everything's being, from all parts of our country, they're going there. And so we rise as one. Oh, this is shitty. Let's all go and help. Not point your finger and say, oh, no, Liberal state, bugger 'em. Just absurd. There are no threats by our leaders to the people. This is fundamentally a health issue first and an economic disaster secondary. But what do people always say? If you've got your health, if you're the poorest man on the planet but with good health, you can rebound. And people are not being told a lot of the truth about people that get this virus in regards to a lot of them have such a slow recovery and secondary problems due to it. It's a nasty little beast.
Okay, put the bin out.
I didn't even hear you do that.
Yeah, I did it just then. I had to.
Oh, right.
I'd forget.
It's just a normal bin, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's lucky I got it between the showers.
Okay. I really do think it's one of those. We had a case in Australia where the leader was so bad, statements from a couple of people rang true. They used the terminology, a drover's dog, meaning anything could beat this. You could stick up a picture of Jim Carrey, and not a real person, and he'd beat Trump in this next election. Well, yeah, it doesn't last long. There's 2 months' rent maybe without eating any food. I'm glad, Hammers. Everyone here is. Everyone's chipping in here. In one form or another, people help people because the government's not helping them.
Oh, to an extent, our government is.
No, I'm talking about in general. You should never rely on your government to the point that they'll save you. It angers me how Americans are treated. I think Mr. Trump's association with Kim Jong-un has rubbed off. He's figured he'd prefer to run a dictatorship with one man ruling the whole country, just like Kim Jong-un does. That's a scary thought. You know the scariest period coming up, and I truly believe this, is between November and the end of January in the United States, the caretaker period, where he's still in power, but has lost the election. Think about it for a second. What the hell is he going to do? And there are, someone said it was tens of thousands, I don't know the true figure, but there are so many different GOP groups running advertisements against Trump. You know, let's see some of the people that are suggesting they don't want to back him. George W. Bush.
Well,
That's right.
you just never know. You just don't know.
George
what's
W.
going on.
Bush says he will vote for Biden amongst tens of thousands of other Republicans. Anyway, I don't have to vote. I'm not the consequence of that country's election at all. But it angers me that the people are treated like shit. Actually, they're treated like fools. But time will unfold, and we'll all know the outcome shortly. But the spike in US deaths coming up in the next 4 to 6 weeks is going to certainly make a lot of people angry. Oh, so you think Trump will win, Hammers? I think you're wrong. I truly think a drover's dog could beat Trump. I reckon you, Hammers, if you could get American citizenship tomorrow, you would win.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know about politics.
The relations politically between America and other countries is awful. Its so-called allies. Anyway, how's your day been? What'd you have for breakfast, Hammers? Toast? Bacon and eggs? Coffee? It'll get you somewhere, it won't get you everywhere, but it will get you somewhere. A discerning mind, someone who is compassionate and has empathy and understands that if they put themselves in the worst person's place in the country, what they then as a leader should do to rectify or help the best they can the country move forward. That's not happening at all. There's no consideration for Americans at all. They are simply numbers. I would gladly have a debate with Mr. Trump live on television anytime he chose to do so. And he'd say, "What are you doing here? You're in Australia." And I said, "Well, actually, I've just come here to tell you what we think about the way that you've acted and treated the people of your country. You know, we the people, you know, United States, and, you know, one for all for what? You don't represent that." And as an outsider, Mr. Trump, I think that basically you're a narcissistic, egotistic, very small-minded person who will blame everyone else for the problems of your life and the country's problems, and all you do is point and mention things like, it's a flu, we'll all be holding hands at Easter in church, and it'll go away. You have as much leadership as a one-winged fly crawling in a bag of crap. You'd like to answer me, Mr. Trump? Go ahead.
You wouldn't get to do that.
We could do that one day. I rarely argue. I'm happy to talk and agree to disagree.
All right, you take care, Patty.
You have a good day. Make the day the best you can, Patty.
Just put a protective shield around yourself. Positive energy, Patty.
And check your lotto numbers before you go. Equal justice under law for all. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. Doesn't exist.
What would you and Hammond have a debate about?
Oh, we could just make a subject matter. We could talk about poor baby seals in Canada getting clubbed. And I could argue the point that at least the person that makes the clubs makes a living. Obviously, it gives employment to families that work in the factory. And the seals can't talk. And Hammer say, that's cruel. They're white, cute little things. Why would you have them killed? I would say, I'm not having them killed, but you can look after the people with the clubs. They manufacture them, produce them, sell them. It's all monetary gain, greed, progress. You know what I mean? You could have a debate about anything. You could sort of tell a white lie as you were going along. Because I don't like baby white seals being clubbed to death, personally.
Good day. G'day, mate. Chick.
Hello, chick. Yeah, not in this environment. Plus, my hips aren't that much good anymore. I do one twist and you'd be calling for an ambulance. You'd be saying to the paramedic, he started off well, but then he just fell over like a tree.
Always seemed like that sound.
Yeah, they're cleaning the lines.
Machinery or something.
That's what they do, is clean the lines. Not for snow, of course. Good morning, Scarlett. Today in Australia, and even though they're paying people not to work $1,500 every 2 weeks anyway, the government has just implemented another $750 check just off the top for everyone to help with the stress of the pandemic. Yeah, so no one's going short of cash in this country, and that's when they're not even working.
I don't know if Scarlett or Chick saw Patty's message. She's not sacked yet, girls. She's fighting it.
Who's the third celebrity going to die? Well, it's a fact that a celebrity will die in the future, Chick.
What do you mean, third celebrity?
He's talking about the death of John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston, I think, is one of them. Would that be right, Chick?
And who's the other one?
I don't know. He's going to tell me.
Because they say it comes in threes. Actually, it's supposed to be coming threes within a period of a week, isn't it? Or 2 weeks.
Or cashless rebelling. At our age, Chick, rebelling is just a thought. You can get dressed up in your 1970s dance clothes, go down to the local club with hammers, we both stand there and go, geez, what have we done? We're going to talk about the 27 Club, are we? You know, the funny thing is, you've all seen the movies of Arnold Schwarzenegger. We went to Madame Tussauds in London. He's a foot and a half shorter than me. So did you aware a family with 2 children and 2 adults got $6,000 in the first stimulus check. 4 collect welfare and those work get unemployment. Yeah, but that's all going to end shortly, Scarlett. End of this month, I believe. Yeah, it's about the same here. Unemployment's been doubled in Australia. But those that lost their job are earning $750 a week cash put into their bank every week. If you did not get a check because you didn't owe back taxes or haven't paid taxes, that'd be another one, Scarlett. Well, even 6,000, let's be honest, 6 months have passed. It's 1,000 a month. You've got no job. And if your rent is reasonably cheap at say 600, you'd be eating rather sparsely. Lots of bread, jam and butter. Yeah, but it's coming to an end, chick. You need to look at end dates in America. Well, I think it's July 22nd or something. That all dissipates. Unless the government says, yeah, we'll give you some more. I think the GOP is quite reluctant to give you anything more. Get back to work. Don't worry about sniffling and coughing. Yes. Even, you know what they say about people, Amos? Even when you get older, you're still big. That doesn't change. Trump is letting each governor handle each state accordingly. Actually, he doesn't have a choice in that, Scarlett, under the Constitution. He doesn't have a choice in that at all. You can't force a state or a governor to do his will. He's not a dictator, even though he did say that. I will make sure it happens. No, you can't, Trump. Read the Constitution. Probably haven't read the Constitution. If he's looking at the stock market, I suppose. That's how it works in the United States. America put $2 trillion into the stock market. Well, that's good if you've got stocks. Just happen to be hand to mouth each month. Means nothing to those people. The country itself, America, does not need stimulus. It doesn't need roads built and railways built. At the moment, it needs money in people's pocket. You are blaming Trump. Absolutely. Trump is the worst president I have ever seen in my lifetime. There is no leadership. There is no federal response. There is no national response. It's like, oh, well, just fix it, guys. It's beautiful. We'll be holding hands in church at Easter. Yeah, just take some, can we put disinfectant in people's veins? Yeah, we can do that. Oh, Fauci, that's right. Mike, come here. How come Fauci's still the head of the diseases in regards to the COVID plan that you're running? Well, he's the best person we've got in the country, sir. Yeah, but he doesn't agree with me. He's not beautiful like me. He's not intelligent like me. I'm the best president in the world. And we've got to put some bad words out in Fauci. Tell him that he makes mistakes and he's unreliable. And Mike would say, but he's still leading the thing I'm doing, boss. It will all end in tears. It's not my country. I don't get to vote. The consequences of who leads your country does affect the world. That's why I have a right to speak. In the past, Americans would say, you're not part of America seeds, you have no right to say anything. Well, I do, because it's a world we all live in. Fauci will be arrested for crimes against humanity. All right, so Scarlett, you were saying President Trump has Fauci as the head of that department that Mike Pence is running. So would Trump be in trouble for employing him? Or he can just wash his hands and point and say, no, it was all to do with him. Really? What are your thoughts on Dan Andrews' big dog? I don't know Dan Andrew or his dog. I hope they're both doing well. you remember a president, Scarlett, called George W. Bush? Remember him? Took the country through 9/11. Made mistakes, without doubt. He admitted to a few of them. But George W. Bush, Scarlett, is voting for Biden. So Bush is responsible. I say, oh, well, then you can wipe him off then. What he just said doesn't count. 2008 taxes, Biden is senile. Okay? So what we could possibly do, Scott, is get rid of everyone that doesn't like Trump in America and send them to Australia or something, or maybe Canada, and just have all the Republican hardline supporters of Trump stay in the country. How would that suit you? Would that be good? Would that be an outcome that would suit most people in America? Well, the ones that want to stay with Trump? The only person that's going to be exposed big time and put forward to Senate committees and be subpoenaed is Donald Trump. Hillary won't run again. There's a very good chance Donald won't run. I might give the Joint Chiefs of Staff a call tomorrow and just explain that it's not going to be a coup d'etat, but could they just wrap him off and send him off to Moscow? Just wake up a little bit dazed, leave a bag full of, money to help him get by for the next few years of his life. No, that's not true. They have plenty on him. Why would somebody, let alone the President of the United States, say that I don't want you looking at my taxes at all? Well, in fact, he's not God. And everyone in America is equal under the law. And as such, the Supreme Court, with two of the Supreme Court appointees that Trump put in himself, voted against Trump's wishes. And now the New York lawyer has all the information, although he's limited in what he can say. But in the House of Representatives shortly, the Democrats are going to challenge the validity of how much information they're allowed to have. So, yeah, he's not above the law, even though he thinks he is. Like, I will go into states and I will do this. No, you can't do that either. You're not God. You're the president. You don't have the right to do that in each state of America. The governor has the right, and so do the people of that state, not you. You're a federal leader, not a state leader. You can tighten the purse strings and make life very hard if you wish, but you can't tell people in states what to do. He will show his taxes he wants. Everyone else does, Scarlett. Name the people that don't. Well, there you go. Put the names of the people that like Trump that aren't showing their taxes. He doesn't have a choice in this. The Supreme Court has said his taxes are going to be revealed, particularly to the New York lawyer who has been pressing charges against him, and he will be subpoenaed. Yeah, we fall into our jobs, I think, Hammers. I think that's true. We just fill a slot, I think. Anyway, let that all unfold. I'm not here to be bitter or argue. I do see what I see, and I have my opinions and views, and I can see the logic behind him being dragged across the coals in a way no other president has ever been. $70,000 new cases in 24 hours. Great leadership. as I do you, Scarlett. But the figures don't add up. The statements he has made, which are flippant and always blaming someone else, always taking no responsibility for his actions, clearing a group of people outside the White House so he could go next to a church he doesn't attend, that wasn't even open, and holding a Bible up. People got injured and harmed in that process. If you watch that footage and you watch footage of Kim Jong-un walking around, notice how both their arms don't move. They just saunter in a sort of I am king type way. And you know what? People notice that. Well, there's going to be one number Americans are going to do in November, chick, and that's put their middle finger up, indicating number one. Yeah. A lot of significance in that. But time will unfold. We will all see. I want you just to envisage one picture in your mind, Scarlett. You don't have to believe it, but just envisage it in your mind. Trump being led up steps, handcuffed. Yeah, no, true. I don't know if you can get any extra supplies, Hammers, but just try and get by with what you got, I guess. There's human trafficking. It disgusts me, Scarlett. You see highlighted people in different areas, but it's all over the bloody planet. It's disgusting. I don't think Trump will be assassinated at all.
American Pickers is on Monday.
I don't believe that for one moment, Scarlett. Usually human trafficking is a combination of many countries involved. Not one person, not the president, many countries. Interpol's involved, there's sex trafficking departments in all different countries that work together to break these evil bastards. It's not Mr. Trump, trust me. He wouldn't even be sitting on a committee of any of this. There are specialised people that do this all the time. Good on them, they do a great job. But taking credit for other people's actions is a little bit gregarious. Yeah, but he hasn't done any of the organising, Scarlett. Saying a few words is just rhetoric. These people that are entrenched in trying to get these people to stop trafficking have been doing it for 30 and 40 years. Different countries work together all the time. I did see recently, I don't know whether you noticed it, but some countries actually had people come back that had been taken away 40 years ago as children, and they've been returned to that country. It happens all over the world. People from the Philippines, girls go to the Arab states and they just get basically put into slavery. Lots of terrible stuff, Buttercup. I mean, the UK work with Interpol, Australia. There's a body of about 60 countries that full-time have people on this, best they can. They even put undercover. So for President Trump to stick his hand up and said, I've fixed all this, what a load of fucking rhetoric from a person who knows nothing about it. Taking credit for other people's efforts is probably the worst sign of narcissism and egotistic belief. But what is he going to do between November and January? That truly worries me as caretaker. Start a war?
Oh, Buddy, Patty still has her job,
Oh, yeah, she has the job.
but she still says her boss is up to something.
I like young Wimbledon, you don't know what they're getting into. Hammers, what are you talking about? I won't even comment on that last comment of yours, Scarlett. He is a prophet. He is possibly the most dangerous leader on the planet at the moment. Let's think. That's right, he was going to turn Iran into a car park. Basically, he said to Kim Jong-un, will turn your place into a car park. Rhetoric. And what he's done, more than anything else, he's turning the US into a car park. That's right, people in their cars, lining up for food and testing.
What I said, Buddy, or can you tell Buddy she didn't hear me about Patty?
Patty is okay. She's still under a bit of duress from her boss, but she still has her job at the moment. And she thanked everyone for thinking out for her. Is Biden going to make the world a better place? Well, Biden might not see out his full term. I'll give you credit there. But in the hands of others, the place will be a better place, whoever it is. One day, maybe America will put candidates up that are like, 50, 45 years of age.
Yeah, maybe Rome will put younger popes out instead of 80-year-olds.
Yeah, every time they elect a pope, he only has a few years to run. Scarlett says Hillary will run. You have a lot of firm beliefs, Scarlett, without any backing up of what you're saying. Is Biden going to get beaten over head by Bill and enforce him to say Hillary can run in his place? Is that what you're saying, or you have more information? Well, he can't do too much harm then, Hammers, can he? Well, Scarlett, I'll tell you my views completely on this. I don't care who runs the country in America, as long as it's not Donald Trump. There's a lot of healing to be done in your country. We'll get Buttercup to change nationalities and she can be the president. Geez, they're in trouble now. Mark my words. The president today will be fronting courts of tomorrow. It's going to happen. The attacks on Trump is what dividing the US. That's a load of rubbish. What's dividing the US is that people are without money, without jobs, they're sick, they're confused, they're not led by anyone. That's the truth. Just to simply say the attacks on Trump is what dividing America is nonsense. Hey, there's the thought. Get Coates to run for president. He's American. That'd be a better alternative. He's young. He could do 2 terms without any trouble. That's right. Could be a canned chicken drive throughout the country. I got rain for the next 5 days, on and off, which is okay. Actually, I had a quick look at a show on Netflix because someone asked me to go and have a look at it and tell me what I thought. And it was something to do with Space Force. You know, the guy out of The Office in America. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. And he's very funny. But you can clearly see that, you don't see him, but you can see the Commander-in-Chief within that show, they're referring to Trump. So they're taking the piss out of him. No, we don't go there.
No, Tony's hooked on someone else.
Yeah, Hammers know whose TR is.
Yeah, TR.
Tony's been watching TR, Hammers. I think he'll need therapy shortly.
Yeah, we're going to send Tony to therapy.
We should have a nice glass of wine. And speak of that in the future, Buttercup. I won't mock you, I promise.
What? Let's say he gets in.
No chance in hell.
No, I'm saying, hypothetically, because of your view, let's say he gets in.
It will be the start of civil war in America that's never been seen before.
I'll have to get purple lipstick out.
We're going to have to send a helicopter in for Scarlet. I'll send in the Koala Division 1. And we'll just get her to duck on the ground. We'll wrap her up in a suit, put her on board, get her on one of our frigates and bring her back to Australia, keep her in safety.
Oh, off-grid campus Tony. Oh my God.
Well, the thing about the man in the can is that he is habitually not that different than the President of the United States. He's a narcissist, he's a greedy fucker, doesn't care about anyone else. There's a bit of a theme running through that. I wonder if Trump will end up with a brand new B class or a second-hand one after he's out of office. Be interesting. Trump travels. There we go. Look forward to watching that channel. Well, for a little while anyway. Still the begging starts.
He's always done that, Tony.
Yep, he's always been
He's
at rock
always
bottom.
done it.
It's not as if he's going to rock bottom. He's always been at rock bottom. I did read an interesting article by two clinical psychologists and a psychiatrist from the United States. So it's not Australian, the United States. And they said they've been studying for the last 5 months since the pandemic. And they released their information in regards to the upswell in people believing in conspiracy theories has gone up 300%. However, it is only 1.4% of the whole population. So it's not a big group, but they've increased. I never watched one video I actually did laugh that Zia did, and that was making garlic sauce. I just really pissed myself laughing. It was so funny. But I haven't watched him for so long because I know it's just the same shit on a different day. But let's be honest, most of us know what's been happening on Boyd for the last 5 or 6 years, most of us, and it's as good as dead. What's your thoughts on that? The Boyd of old, as far as I'm concerned, no longer exists. It is a figment of some people's imagination now only. Who captioned the phrase conspiracy theorists? So I know one person that captured it, that saying back in about 1775 in the US. D is claiming mental health. Who's D? So he can get away with his past. Obviously someone who's a e-big and low life, I guess.
I told you about you know.
Oh, the one that was
Yes.
Rosie you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh, okay. How to brush your toofers. No. I don't go to channels like people that say the Earth's going to end tomorrow, or, you know, the undercover world is out to get us. I know they are. Don't need to go there and listen to someone's point of view in regards to all these things, because it gets very deep and people get very aggressive. They don't like to be challenged on facts. It's not facts to people that have a conspiracy theory, because you wouldn't use the word conspiracy. In other words, it's with merit but not with fact. That's what a conspiracy theory is. It's not fact, it's merit on some subject matters, stringed together, and then your mind allows you to fill in the difference that's not there, and then you create it as fact. Big difference, because it wouldn't be called a conspiracy theory, it would be called fact. Just fact. The fact is, this happened, that's why it's done by these people, here is the evidence. Not, I think, and we hear people say, and this channel said, and that guy who's been on the radio for 6 years. It's all hearsay, speculation, but not merit of fact. So it's hearsay, and anyone can say anything. Maybe he just brushes his teeth once a year, Tony. Got to use the whole tube. At Scarlet, I'm not having a go at all, but I just know that for the years that I did go to look at channels like that, it just got too deep, too weird, and if you didn't agree, basically you were outed and, you know, ostracised because you had a differing opinion. People that have channels like that don't allow for differing opinions at all. See, I've never believed in any of that either, Buttercup. Someone on a channel showing a document or a reference to something is not fact.
Oh, it's a real document.
Evidence gets people sent to court and jailed or subpoenaed, not hearsay. Here's a good one for all you people here, and I'm just going to test you. Who killed John F. Kennedy? Your thoughts individually on who killed John F. Kennedy. My answer is John F. Kennedy killed John F. Kennedy. He tried to push the boundaries of racial equality, maybe a little bit too quick. Look through that period, see what happened. Who else went down? Martin Luther King. You name it. Do you remember the standoff with Governor Wallace and the federal agents who came to his state saying, these people can go to your university? See, I remember these things. There was a girl and a man who went eventually through the doors, but Wallace said, you're not coming in here. Segregation, that's how we run our state. That's right, I remember these things. It's not too far off Dallas, Texas, when JFK lost his life. Great number of things happened in those 2 or 3 years prior. Wallace was a stand-up man for segregation. Yep, he was, Hammers. You probably only need to listen to one of JFK's speeches, and you all know the one I'm referring to. That probably sentenced him to death. You girls have far too much time out. Would you both fly over here? I've got heaps of sanding and painting to be done. Now, come on. Come over here and get into that. No YouTube, 3 meals a day, in bed by 6. Oh, hang on, that sounds like slavery, doesn't it? Maybe I'll talk to Wallace's spirit. We can arrange that. It was a very divisive period. Talk about the era that JFK was president. Talk about the Cuba incident and how close the whole world come to. When I was a kid, we were taught to duck and cover. Not sure why. As a little kid, you just did as you're told. But we came real close then. Khrushchev backed off. It was a Mexican standoff. We can only base our opinions on the info. I would disagree. We can only base our opinions on the facts we receive, not information. Information can be written and disseminated by anyone. But believe me, duck and cover. Scarlett probably remembers. I think I was 4 or 5. First at school. Now, boys and girls, we're going to duck and cover. Listen to your teacher. I'll be on the floor in front of you. I want you to all go under your desks. I remember turning around saying, why are we doing this? Other kids say, I don't know. As far as politics, JFK was very radical in changing certain things in the fabric of American culture and society. And I think he just acted a little bit too quick. He was ahead of his time. And the consequences of his actions was the result in his assassination. My understanding of the facts of what? What statements have I made that are set of facts, Scarlett? I question things. I'm not giving you any statement of facts. For me, John F. Kennedy was killed because of his behaviour in trying to change the social fabric of America. By whom? I don't know. I generally get my, if you want, earthy facts from my own hands-on approach. I question everything, because just because somebody says something doesn't make it so. When you get a group of people that think of the same things together and don't have a personal viewpoint, it's a collective thought. Part of your thoughts are in there, but not all of your thoughts. And you're agreeing to things that you don't really agree to. Don't make a t-shirt with those words on it, Hammers. Just advice. Nate. Probably not the best idea. It's funny, but I wouldn't make a t-shirt. Well, if you have an open mind on everything, you would question what you already know. Because for me, when the truth is revealed, and in time, that does happen, over time. Facts are delivered. But again, facts can be changed if you're the winner of, say, a war. You can say how atrocious the other losing opponent was, and your behaviour as an army was okay, which is nonsense. There are atrocities in war on both sides. But the victors paint the history and write it. Well, if you don't know the facts and you're surmising, you're filling in the gaps to make some sort of process work for your mind. That's how it works. And how you think, if you already have an assumption, you get to the point where you want that assumption to be true, because it's like everything fits. You know, like a jigsaw. You work out part of it, and then other people throw you bits and pieces of the jigsaw, and then you paint a picture for yourself. Doesn't mean it's true, it just works for you. Here's a good question, and I was asked this many, many years ago by a very clever man, but it was one of those things I had to really think about. In real life situations, who can you trust? If the situation was dire, dangerous, threatening, who are you going to turn to? Well, yeah, yourself first, but I mean, if you've got people you care, kids, grandkids, who do you trust? Do you trust your government, local authorities? Do you trust the police? Do you trust a man in a suit telling you that this is how it should be done and I'm doing it for your best interests? You must trust yourself and your instincts, obviously, because that's what you're born with and you're taught by the people that care about you. It does, and usually it results in just a very small amount Hammers, one or two people that you would trust. Because we're nearly at that point now. You guys don't trust the government. I don't trust them. I don't expect them to save me or Hammers, ever. I don't expect them to find a solution to problems that we face. But when people come together, they generally do. They find a solution, one way or another, to remedy a problem. It's a very deep question because you know lots of people. You might know your neighbour, you might know the shopkeeper, you might have known a guy for 30 years. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, and your life is at stake, or those of loved ones around you are, you need to ask the question, who do you trust? Who can you turn to and with? In other words, you can help as well. Because it's very limited. Hammers hit it on the head. It takes decades to find out that truth. Not moments, not someone you just met, not someone who just said something that sounds good. But even just having these discussions, back and forth, agreeing and disagreeing, it's a consensus of thought. None of us agree with each other, that's fine. At least we're thinking about it. They have a plan. Got any names to go with that, Buttercup? Or all of them just under the heading of deep state? Still, if it gets really bad, all of us here, we could meet at a Masonic lodge somewhere, store some food. I'm just kidding. I'm bad sometimes, I know. No, I'm not a member of the Masonic Lodge, if that's what you're thinking. No. Those behind the governments. Name them. Let's formulate a plan, Buttercup. Let's out these people. Let's bring them to the forefront of justice around the world. Let's create a new and equality of society based on trust, justice, and liberty. Let's name these people. It's pretty hard to when most of them are nameless. I've met people from the Masonic Lodge. They seem normal, but they have abnormal views on many occasions. And they're very much into nepotism. You know, if you're part of the lodge and you've got a small business, we can look after you, yeah. Send a bit of work your way, etc., etc. But nepotism is deep within cultures and races as well, not just societies. So, Scarlett, when you go to vote in November, you're going to go down on one knee just before you put your ballot into the box? See, I told you I was bad. We'll get a hangout going one time. We'll get Buttercup, Scarlett. I don't know if Chick would speak. None of you have to put your video on, of course. I would never insist that at all. It's up to you. But we'll have a discussion, an open discussion on different subjects, and I'll just sit back. Trust me, I will. I'll just listen. Would you be interested in doing that? Night, Tony. Have a good one.
See you, Tony.
And no late night TR, okay? You'll have nightmares. Yep, Hammers. Yep, more than welcome. We'll do that in the near future.
Gee, I could see that.
I think we'll just call the hangout. What about this one? What do you suggest? Food for thought. How does that sound? You have to figure out how to do it. Well, I'm not that clever, trust me. When I did hang out with JP, it took me about half an hour. So you're going to have to be patient with me. Technically advanced on computers is not what I am. Someone will help us, Scarlett. It's usually something like a link, and you click on it, and then you're in the room or something.
And you gotta have a microphone.
Oh yeah, you've got to have a microphone, because if you just do sign language, we're going to struggle. Yeah, no rush. Plenty of time, Hammers, but be interesting to see. And this is not me at all being flippant saying, I won't believe what you say, because some of the things you say I won't believe. I'll be upfront with you. But I'll be very civil and listen, because each and every one of us has an opinion, a point of view, and a perspective. Doesn't mean it all matches each of us, and I will not tolerate anyone attacking anyone. I will just flick you off the panel. Straightforward. That's how it'll happen. You are happy to put your point across aggressively, purposefully, but not maliciously. That's how I will be doing it. Before they shut down the internet, well, Buttercup, give me a date so I can get one in before then. We could throw heaps of subjects up there. JFK, 9/11, what else? Oh, Area 51, Black Ops, Deep State, what else? That's right, New Zealand Prime Minister William Mann. I'm still pissing myself laughing over that one. I had sex with her. I mean, I've got to tell you now. She's a woman. But anyway. Deep Thought. That might be another title we could use. Deep Thought instead of Food for Thought. You know, each president, I mean, just think about this for a second. And these are facts, because you all saw them. I think we could go back, let's start with Reagan, about the atrocities that occurred and some of the speeches that he did in empathy for the people that were lost during a tragedy. Bill Clinton did it with the Oklahoma bombing. George Bush did it with 9/11. We could go on and on. Bush, Clinton, Reagan, you name them, they all did it. Trump plays golf. I can make food, no problem there, Scarlett. What I'll do is I'll put the camera on me while you're all talking and I'll just eat it.
I'll cook it.
I did notice something very strange this morning in a picture I saw on online news. It was a picture of Mr. Trump with a mask on. Ah, that was interesting. it's cosmetic. Make it look like the Lone Ranger. Hey ho, silver. Mike Tonto. Did you really? He was a bit of a nutter that shot him, wasn't he? The policeman didn't die, did he, Hammers? I think he could have got injured. I know he got terribly injured. Protecting the president. I actually also remember thinking about the presidents who gave very empathetic statements. I do remember watching President Barack Obama in a church, the church that a massacre took place, singing Amazing Grace. And I thought that was very, very beautiful. Empathy with the people of the country. Trump plays golf.
Oh, you still can't get into your garage.
Have you thought of two things? Insurance is a great thing, Buttercup. I want you to back your car up about 40 feet, then hit reverse, flat out. Two things, you get a new car and your garage door will be open.
Not if you did it on purpose.
Well,
won't.
yeah, she can just say, I thought I was going forward, but I went backwards.
So what's the problem with the door, Buddy?
It's jammed, obviously. Have you thought of turning the knob? Or pressing the button? Is it one of them electronic things? What we'll definitely have to do, they said they would send someone next week. Guess what I said? Well, imagine expletives were used. Put it that way. It doesn't turn. Okay, maybe it's the wrong key.
So is your car in the garage? Like, if the car's in the garage, she hasn't been able to get into it all week.
I don't know. Maybe you could do a live hangout and all the people in there might be able to help you. Suggestions like sledgehammer, big burly neighbour. Coming tomorrow, good. You pay good money, you should work. Yeah, WD-40 can be the go, that's for sure. Very useful WD-40 for many things, Scarlett, isn't it? It's quite incredible what you can use it for.
Oh, that's right, yeah, your freezers are in there.
Oh dear. Buttercup has 9 freezers. Some do not contain corpses. But we definitely have to hang out on election night. That would be a great one. What do you think, Scarlett? Of course, we'll see the Electoral College first. Go through the different states as the time zones flick through. crucial states, Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? We could, be a big night. We could have buffalo wings, pizza, Kobe some ounce of beer. I'll get my lipstick ready with my dress. A galah cocktail party. We've got plenty of galahs here. Hundreds of the buggers.
Gala. You know full well what it says.
New beaded dress. So you're going to get all dressed up.
Ah, yes.
All I'm suggesting, Scarlett, as a friend, is don't put mascara on. You know how it runs.
No, don't wear high heels.
Galah.
There's a
I
letter-
knew you meant gala. I was just being a pain in the ass.
There's one letter makes a difference between.
No, it's the same word.
Gala.
Same word. I don't wear makeup, but that's a good thing. All we'll see then, Scarlett, is the tracks of your tears, not a terrible runny mess of mascara,
There is one letter.
cording down your shoulder onto your elbow onto the floor. Trump will win by a landslide. Oh my God, Scarlett. Let's hope that Trump can be just as good as the crew and NASA in working out how to get Apollo 13 back home. Because there's lots of improvisions to be done now, between now and then. I won't cry either way. It's your country, not mine. Before you send that box off to Buttercup, just put a couple of keys in there.
Okay.
They might work. There's a lot of traffic on the road, isn't there?
Yeah,
Because
there
it's
is.
so calm, we can hear it from here.
There is actually for a Monday.
Yeah. Lots of sporting events starting up too. Maybe that's what they're doing, coming home or going to. This weekend in my state, we have 30,000 people at a sporting ground watching a football match. 30,000. Yep, they don't muck around. Every state has sent personnel, either police officers, nurses, doctors. They're all headed towards Melbourne to assist. And they've locked everything down tight as you can imagine. No in, no out. We don't have COVID in my state, Scarlett. You like numbers, don't you, chick? And that's this weekend. The following weekend, at the same ground, they're allowing 60,000, the capacity,
I'll
to go
see
into the ground.
how the 30,000 goes first.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be busy taking temps, aren't they?
Sorry?
Going to be busy taking temps.
Yeah. No, they have automated system there.
Is it?
Yeah. Just like the airport. It is. It's a mathematical game, Buttercup. Like everything. Some parts of Melbourne, the kids have only just gone back to school for 3 weeks of this year, and now schools are closed. It's all remote learning. In other words, what they're doing in Australia, as soon as there's a spike, they shut everything down completely. Testing is the answer to finding out, Scarlett. Your president said, I told my people to do less testing. They won't find as many. The secret of any pandemic is to test as many people as you can. And the sick ones you look after, or tell them to stay home. But the testing numbers don't add up to the infection numbers, Scarlett. 134% increase and a 25% increase in testing. Numbers don't, like Buttercup just said, it's mathematical. Work on the numbers. Well, that's what you're told. That's not quite true, though, Scarlett. Cool. Might get to see it then, Hammers. No, I knew that the guy that invented the PCR, I think it is, not PCP. Could be wrong. I think it's PCR. Is not reliable to a certain extent, but the proteins are what is reliable, not the antibodies. Actually, in Australia, I forgot to mention earlier, the University of Queensland have undertaken now this week human trials into a vaccine for the virus that they've developed. They made it very clear they're not saying it will completely work, but vaccine trials are underway in Australia. Yeah, I think it's PCR. I wasn't pulling you up, I just remember the wording from the gentleman that did it, who unfortunately has passed away several years ago. It's getting a bit cold. What's it going down to? Oh, it's freezing. It's 15 degrees Celsius. No wonder I'm cold. But we'll do that. We'll have a food for thought hangout. You're welcome to come on board, chick. I do insist, if there's 3 or 4 people up there, that each person gets to speak without being interrupted. One of my pet hates. But as soon as I was in a side chat listening to a hangout where 4 or 5 people would be talking, I just go, there's no relevance being in there listening to garble. And no, there'll be no advertising about it. And no, we don't need a big crowd. Someone came in the other day, a lady from the UK, Buttercup might remember her name. Something horrible, I think it was. Said, do you want me to bring in lots more people? And I said, not really. Don't think anyone in this room right now cares if there's 10 people or 20, but we don't want 300 or 400. Have a good day, Scarlett. Remember to put your mask on if you go into town, just saying. Connecticut passed the gun law within 1 week. Okay. We're going to toodle off. It is getting cold for us. There's the princess. And here's the ogre. Hey, donkey. Anyway, have a good day. Good to catch up with the Hammers. Good to see Patty still got a job. Chick still doing numbers. Buttercups can't get into a garage. Scarlett's off to the fields to scare the scarecrow. But it's a democratic scarecrow. That's what she'd use. Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Anyway, whatever day you're doing today, enjoy it. Have fun, be safe, be smart, and be careful. Au revoir.